We live in a world that is constantly pulling us in a million different directions, and it can be really tough to feel grounded. So, in this explainer, we're going to build a blueprint, a clear guide to living a more meaningful life, using some timeless wisdom for our very modern challenges.
This quote just really hits home, doesn't it? That feeling of being pulled away from what truly matters. I think a lot of us feel that, the constant buzz of notifications, the never-ending to-do lists, that pressure to just keep up. It's a challenge we all share in this modern world.
But what if we could actually cut through all that noise? Well, that's exactly what we're going to try to do here. We've taken the wisdom from several modern thinkers and distilled it all down into a single, actionable blueprint, a set of principles to help us navigate the chaos and find our way back to what's really important.
So, where does a journey like this even begin? It all starts with the foundation, probably the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, knowing yourself. Think about it. Before you can build a meaningful life, you have to understand the materials you're working with, right?
Our sources use this really powerful metaphor for this: a compass. Your personal values, that's your compass. In a world that's constantly spinning, they're the fixed point that helps you navigate, especially when you're facing those tough choices. They always keep you pointed toward your own true north. And building on that, all our sources seem to agree on these core principles of self-awareness. It's really about a kind of radical honesty. Knowing your strengths, sure, but also owning your weaknesses. It's about embracing your imperfections and really understanding what you can change and what you can't. The key thing here is, self-awareness isn't about judging yourself. It's about getting clarity. And once you've got clarity, you can actually start building. We're given this brilliant three-step process. First, you start with your values. That's your foundation. From there, you build a vision for your future and a mission for your present. And only then, after all that, do you set your immediate goals. This whole process makes sure that your daily actions are actually aligned with who you truly are.
And as we wrap up this first part, the sources leave us with a question that sounds simple, but is actually pretty profound. Just forget what you think you should want for a second. What truly, genuinely brings you joy? Answering that honestly is a huge step in self-discovery.
Okay, so knowing yourself is the foundation, but a foundation isn't much used without a structure built on top of it, right? That structure is mindful action. It's how you apply all that self-knowledge to the real world. This is where your inner clarity creates outer impact. And here's a really key insight. We often think we need perfect clarity before we can act, but you know what? It's usually the other way around. Taking that first step, even a small one, is what starts to clear the fog. Life doesn't reward overthinking. It rewards thoughtful action. And this just brilliantly illustrates the kind of mindset you need for that action. When you face a challenge, do you see a roadblock or do you see a stepping stone? A reactive mindset is terrified of failure. But a growth mindset, well, it sees failure as data. That phrase right there, fail soon, fail cheaper, fail forward, that's fantastic. It completely reframes failure not as an ending, but as a vital part of the process. And here is the perfect reminder for anyone who's ever been afraid to start something new or worried they aren't good enough. Every single expert, every master in their field started out as a total beginner, a disaster. This quote gives us all permission to be imperfect, to learn, and to just grow. Now, mindful action isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you don't do. And our sources really emphasize the power of boundaries. Learning to say no to protect your time and energy isn't selfish. They call it a profound act of self-love. It's how you create the space to say yes to the things that truly matter. This just sharpens the point with a really piercing question. Every yes is also automatically a no. When you say yes to working late, you might be saying no to dinner with your family. When you say yes to some social thing you don't even care about, you're saying no to an hour of rest. It makes the real trade-offs of our choices incredibly clear. So we've got our internal foundation and we have our framework for taking action. Now let's look at how all of that connects to the outside world, and specifically to the people all around us. So let's talk about the people around us. And as we do, I want you to just keep one single number in your head, 5. Because that one little number, it might just represent one of the most powerful forces shaping your life. And there it is. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Just let that sink in for a second. Their attitudes, their ambitions, their habits, all of that is constantly influencing you, whether you realize it or not. This is a huge call to be incredibly intentional about who's in your inner circle. And you can really see the difference here, the two sides of the coin. On one side, you've got toxic relationships that just drain your energy and hold you back. And on the other, you have your tribe, the people who lift you up,
who challenge you to be better, who support your growth. The quality of your life is so deeply connected to which one of these columns you spend more of your time in.
So, the crucial thing to remember is that we are not just passive victims in our relationships. We are active participants. The golden rule, the idea of karma, they both point to this. You get back what you put out there. And that idea that we teach people how to treat us, wow, that's a powerful call to take responsibility for the dynamics in our own lives.
All right, finally, let's bring all these different pieces together. It's so important to understand that living well isn't some destination you just arrive at one day. It's not a box you can check off a list. It's an ongoing process, a continuous journey of growth and refinement.
This cycle here illustrates that journey perfectly. It basically presents life as this iterative process. You set a goal, you hit a problem, you diagnose why it's happening, you design a solution, you take action, and then you repeat the whole thing. It's a constant loop of progress, driven by learning from your challenges. Life is always a work in progress.
This is such an important takeaway. The goal isn't to be perfect, or to never make mistakes, or to succeed at every single thing you do. The true goal is alignment. It's about making sure your actions, your relationships, and your choices are all in harmony with your core values, with that internal compass.
And just when you might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, our sources offer what might be the most essential principle of all: self-compassion. Look, you are going to stumble. You will violate these other principles from time to time, and that's okay. The key is to forgive yourself, learn from it, and just get back on the path. We'll end with this. It's a beautifully clarifying question. It just cuts through all the noise and gets right to the heart of what it means to live a good life. It's not about wealth or status. It's about character. The person you are building, day by day, is that a legacy you'd be proud to pass on? That's a powerful thought to reflect on as we end this explain.